I also like Sweet Child of Mine a good bit. Whenever I'm driving in my car, which I do just about 80% of my life, and I have my iPod set on random at all times, and so songs will come on and I'll think, oh, that would be a really fun song to cover, but then I'll be in the car for 9 hours, and so I instantly forget. There's a lot of songs I would like to learn, but I need a secretary or something, or a better memory. Thanks so much again for
Thank you.
all the help with Kickstarter and for having me over here. I said thank you and now I'm still saying that was supposed to be a smooth segue. Right into the song. I'm so pro. Jessie is a friend. Yeah, you know he's been a good friend of mine. But lately something's changed and ain't hard to find. Jessie's got himself a girl, and I wanna make her mine. And she's watching him with those eyes, and she's loving him with that body, I just know it. And he's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jessie's girl. Jessie's girl. Where can I find her? A woman like that. Play along with charade. Doesn't seem to be any reason to change. You know, I feel so dirty when they start talking cute. Wanna tell her that I love her, but the point is broken mood. And she's watching him with those eyes, and she's loving him with that body, I just know it. And he's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jessie's girl. Jessie's girl. Where can I find her? A woman like that. So in 1984, my crazy Aunt Catherine took me to see Rick Springfield at the Concord Pavilion in Concord, California. It was my first big rock show, and it was my birthday. I was 12. And on the way to the show, we had to stop at a biker bar in East Palo Alto to visit my Uncle Robert, who was a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle club. It's a true story. In retrospect, I think that my aunt just needed to score some weed, because when I was a kid, she was my crazy Aunt Catherine, but when I was in high school, she was my cool Aunt Catherine. True story. So we pulled into the parking lot of this biker bar, and my Uncle Robert came over to the passenger side of my aunt's 1975 Toyota Tercel, and I rolled the passenger side window down, and he said, "Hey Matt, I hear you're going to a rock concert." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Who are you going to see?" And I said, "Rick Springfield, sir." Now, in the past, I've said at this point in the story that my uncle did a lot of less than desirable things to me at that point. I have said that he took me out of the car and stripped me down to my underwear and tied me to the back of one of his hogs and rode me around the parking lot for a little while. I have also said that he punched me in the neck. I have also said a lot worse things that I'm not going to say right now. But I want to set the record straight. Because in fact, all of those things did happen. But with his eyes. But then we went to the show and it was awesome. And Rick did a song about his dad on the piano and he cried and it was awesome. And right before that he did that song, Bop Till You Drop in the Hot City, people working day and night, and it was awesome. And he had girls dressed up like robots and steel girders, and he was dressed up like a robot, and there were fireworks, and there was fire, and it was awesome. But I've been thinking about that lately actually, and I think that I was remembering the video. I don't think that actually happened. I think the video for Bop Till You Drop actually had all of those things, and I, over the years, put it into my head as like it happened at the concert. But if that was in fact the case, they went right from that. The stage went black, and like a few seconds later, the curtain came up, and there was Rick wearing a cardigan and reading glasses, sitting at a grand piano, singing a song for his father and weeping openly. So I don't think they actually made that transition. But it was awesome. And I was the only boy there. It was awesome. And that guy Corey Hart that did I Wear My Sunglasses at Night so I can. He was supposed to open the show, but he got sick. It was awesome. But the one thing that was not awesome was that more than anything else I wanted a t-shirt, because it was my first big rock concert and I wanted something to remember it by. And I already had the vinyl copy of Working Class Dog, so I really needed a t-shirt. And so my Aunt Catherine took me over to the booth where they were selling t-shirts, and all they had were pink tank tops. And I was already getting beat up a lot in junior high, and I thought, you know what, the way to fix that's probably not going to be to show up Monday morning with a pink tank top on that says Rick Springfield on it in puffy blue letters. I think I made the right call. I got beat up anyway. True story. But I'd like to think that if Rick were here right now, and I think that Rick is here right now, inside each and every one of us, just a little bit. And I don't know if you guys know the history of this house, but when Rick Springfield died, he was cremated and his ashes were put into the foundation of this house. It's true. And so I think in a very real way as well as a metaphysical way, I think Rick is inside each and every one of us. And you know, whatever God you believe in, I think in all of the religions, there's an idea that God is inside all of us. And I think that with Rick it works the same way, that he's in there along with God. He's probably hiding underneath God somewhere. He's not like at the forefront, but I think he's in there too. And I think you know, your God is part of you, and that's who you go to for help, and that's who you ask for help in times of trouble. And the thing is that I think when you find yourself in times of trouble and you look inward or wherever you look for God and you ask for help, I think God is really busy, all of them. Like all the major religions, all the gods are super busy and they don't have time for you. They're just too busy. And Rick, not so much. And so I really just think it's a time management thing, and if you find yourself in times of trouble, you should ask Rick for help, because he doesn't have a whole lot going on right now. But I'd like to think that if Rick were still alive and he were here right now, that this is exactly how he would do the bridge. So I'm looking in the mirror all the time. I'm wondering what she don't see in me. Cause I've been funny, I've been cool with the lines. Ain't that the way love's supposed to be?